So for this session, we'll be talking about formulas. Okay. So like I mentioned last time in the suggested steps, if you know some formulas relating your quantities, then that will be helpful. So in here, I'll just present some formulas, okay, that will be helpful in solving word problems. So a formula, it's just any relationship involving two or more quantities. Okay, so you have two quantities, you relate them. So that's a formula. Or you have three or more quantities, you relate them, and then um, you will get a formula. Okay, so for example, in here, we let L be the length and W be the width of a rectangle. Then we have the following formulas. The area A of a rectangle is given by this formula. So A, it's your area, and the area for the rectangle, it's just length times width. So you multiply the length and the width. For the perimeter, okay, perimeter of the rectangle, it's just twice the length plus twice the width. Okay, so twice the length plus twice the width. So for example, the sides of a rectangle are 7 inches and 4 inches. Find the perimeter and the area of the rectangle. Okay? Normally, the longer side, okay, the longer side will be the length of the rectangle. And then the shorter side will be the width. Okay? So for this, your length L, this is equal to 7, and then your width W, this is equal to 4. So area A, this is length times width. So this is just 7 times 4, and this is equal to 28. And the units is in square units. Okay? So we have here inches. So this is 28 square inches. And then for the perimeter P, this is just twice the length. So 2 times 7 plus twice the width, which is 2 times 4. So this is equal to 14 plus 8. This is equal to 22. And the unit here, it's just inches. Inches. Okay? So these units, they should make sense. Look at this. Length, it's 7 inches. Width, it's 7 inches. It's like you are multiplying inches times inches, or inch times inch. So it's inch squared. So you have here square inches. On the other hand, you just have here 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. The length is inches, the width is inches, and you are just adding them, so the unit will just be inches. Okay? So what I just did is called dimension analysis. I analyze the dimension. And you have to make sure that when you analyze the dimension, it should make sense in the the conclusion that you wanted. So area, it's squared units. Okay. For perimeter, it's just the unit. Okay. And later we will see volume. And for the volume, it's cubic units. Okay. So those units should make sense to what you want to know or want to solve. Okay? So this is for the rectangle. Let's have another set of formulas. So let R be the radius of a circle. Then the area of the circle is given by the formula pi r squared. And in here, pi, this is just a constant. It's just a number. You don't convert it. Okay? You don't put 3.14 or 3.1415. No, you don't put that unless it is stated. If it is not stated, just put pi because pi itself is a number. Okay? And then, of course, you have the circumference, and that is equal to 2 pi r. So again, pi here, it's a number. 2 pi is just a number. R here, it's the given radius of the circle. Okay? And I want to add. So number 3 here, the diameter D of the circle. So of the circle is, so this D here, this is equal to 2r. So twice the radius. And therefore, if you are given a diameter of the circle and you want to find the circumference will just be D times R. Yeah, 2D. The circumference will just be 2D. Sorry, it's not 2D, it's pi D. So this 2 and R here, that becomes your D, and then you have the pi here. So the circumference will be pi D. Okay? Now, let's have this. Suppose the radius of a circle is 5 centimeters. Find the area and the perimeter of the circle. So we are given R equals 5 centimeters. So area A, according to this, it's just pi r squared. So pi times r squared. Okay? But r equals 5. So you have 5 pi times 5 squared, or this is equal to 25 pi. And then this is centimeters squared. Okay? And notice this is area. I mentioned earlier, it's units squared or square units. And that is still true here because you have r squared. So the unit for the radius, it's centimeters, so centimeters squared. That's why you have the centimeters squared in here. So that's the area. And then for the circumference, so circumference C, circumference C, this is 2 pi r, and r equals 5. So you have 2 pi times 5, or this is equal to 10 pi. And the unit for this, it's just centimeters. So it's the same circumference of the circle. It's the same as the perimeter of the circle.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Where it says the area of the circle, how come you didn't times the 25 times pi? How come you didn't do that?
What is 5 squared?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sorry, I get it. Yeah. Okay. But that sure, but how come you didn't times, like over there it says 25 pi? How come you didn't do 25 times pi?
Just write it.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Just write it. That's why I just wrote this as it is.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Same is true with the 10 pi. You'll just write it as 10 pi.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Let's have another one in here. Let A and B be the length of the legs of a right triangle, and let C be the hypotenuse. So in here, you have the legs of a right triangle. A right triangle, it's a triangle wherein one of the angles is 90 degrees. Okay, so this is a 90-degree angle, and we say it's right. Okay, so the legs will be this guy here and this guy here. Okay, but it's easily recognizable if you know that the hypotenuse, it's the longest side. The hypotenuse is the side opposite to the 90-degree angle. So this is the 90-degree angle. The opposite side, it's this guy here. So that's your hypotenuse. Okay. So once you know your hypotenuse, the other two sides will be called legs. And that's why we have this. A here, B here, and C here. Okay. Then the following relation holds. You have A squared plus B squared, that's equal to C squared. And we call this the Pythagorean formula. Okay? We call this the Pythagorean formula. Now, another formula on rectangles is the following. So let us consider this triangle. Sorry, I should say triangle. Okay? So another formula or set of formulas for the triangle is the following. So we have this triangle. Okay? You have A, B, C. In here, it doesn't mean that the C is the longest side. No, we don't know that. At least for a right triangle, the longest side is C. But for other general triangles, the longest side could be anything, any of the three. But anyway, so you have this triangle. We let the H to be the height of the triangle. So this guy here corresponding to the side B. So this is your side B, and you have this H here. Okay? So there are other cases also. So for example, you have your triangle that looks something like this, and this is your A, B, C. You can have the height of the triangle to be this. Okay? The property is that you draw, okay, a height of the triangle. You can get that by drawing a line from one point of from one vertex, okay, from one vertex going to the opposite side, and you draw that perpendicularly. Meaning this should be a right angle here. Also, this guy here, we assume this to be a right angle. And this guy here, this blue segment here, this will be the height, okay? This will be the height, and let's label that as H, the height corresponding to C, okay? Because we use the opposite side C, okay? And you can also have the height corresponding to A. And these heights, they are different. They could be different. The value of H here, okay, this height corresponding to B, it could be different from the height corresponding to A or height corresponding to C. Okay? So let H. So for these formulas, we have our H to be the height corresponding to side B. So you have this. Now, the area of the triangle will be given by this formula. 1/2 times the base, which is B here, okay, times this height H. So times this guy here. So again, 1/2 B times H. Okay? Of course, if you use this triangle here, this is your H. Okay, the area will be 1/2 H times C. Okay, so for this triangle area, this is equal to 1/2 H times C. Okay, is that clear? And then for the perimeter of the triangle, all you need to do is to add the sides. So the perimeter, it's just A plus B plus C. So A plus B plus C. Okay. Now, the good thing is, for a fixed triangle, okay, so I mentioned you have different heights, and the height depends on which side, okay, you are using as a base, quote unquote. Okay. If you use the formula with corresponding base, you will have the same area. The area is fixed. So this is your H, this is your B. If we had our, say, height, so there's a possibility that you will draw the height outside of the triangle. So for example, if I extend this and I'll use this guy here, the height could be something like this. So this is the height for the base or corresponding to the side C. I'll put the subscript. So I mean here, the height corresponding to side C. And the area will be equal to 1/2 H sub C times C. And what I'm saying is, this area here, I am looking at the same triangle here. This area here will be the same as this. They will be equal. Okay? And I can do the same thing for this guy. So this is my side A. Okay? If I extend this, there's a possibility that again, the height will be outside. Okay? So the height will be outside. So this is right here. Okay? So this blue here, I label it as H sub A. Okay? Because this is the opposite side here, the corresponding side. It's A here. So I label it as H sub A. And if I compute the area using that, you have 1/2 H sub A times A. And since I am using the same triangle in here, this area using this formula is the same as this guy here, and also the same as this guy here. Okay? Let's see. Suppose the sides of a triangle is 4, 8, and 10 units. Find the perimeter of the triangle. So in here, we are only asked to find the perimeter. So P, it's just 4 plus 8 plus 10. And this is just 22 units. Okay? Questions? Now, Let's have this. Let's see be the value of a given temperature in degrees Celsius. Then the corresponding degrees Fahrenheit value of the temperature can be obtained using this formula. So Fahrenheit F, so degree Fahrenheit F, that's equal to 9 over 5C plus 32. Okay? So if you are given the degrees in Celsius, you can use this formula to convert it to degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? So the Americans can use this. So they would know when we say 32 degrees Celsius, they would know the value corresponding to their country. Okay? Now, let me take this opportunity to do the following. There are times that we have a formula. We have a fixed formula. For example, in this. But what if we are given the degree Fahrenheit value? So how do we convert it to C? So what we're going to do is to rewrite this formula, okay, such that the C will be in terms of F. So what we're going to do is to find the quantity, okay, find a formula for a quantity in terms of the other quantities. For example, if you have three quantities, one quantity is related or is written in terms of quantity 2 and quantity 3, then there's a possibility then that we can solve for quantity 3 in terms of and write it in terms of quantities 1 and 2. Okay? So we are manipulating the formula so that we can isolate one quantity on one side of the equation and the other quantities are on the other side of the equation. So going back to this, we have F equals 9, 5C plus 32. So what we're going to do is to solve for C in terms of, or to write for C in terms of F. So from here, we will have F minus 32. This is equal to 9 over 5C. So I just put this 32 here to the other side of the equation. And then I'll use symmetric property. So I'll have 9 over 5C. This is equal to F minus 32. And then what I'm going to do is to multiply 5 on both sides of the equation. And then also divide by 9 on both sides of the equation. So we will have C equals F minus 32. So we multiply 5 on both sides of the equation. And then we also divide 9 on both sides of the equation. So we have this formula. So the degree Celsius value for a given F can be obtained using this formula. Okay. So if you are non-American, okay, and you use Celsius and you go to America, you will see there 98 degrees or 87 degrees, and they mean Fahrenheit. So you use this formula to convert to find the corresponding Celsius if you are used to using Celsius. Again, without the use of technology. Of course, if you have converter from your phone, then you can just use that one. Okay? But anyway, so this guy here, it's the formula. that converts Celsius to Fahrenheit. This guy here, it's a formula that converts Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay? So let's see. Convert 100 degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. And then for the second one, convert 98 degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius. So for number 1, F, this is just 9/5 times 100 degrees Celsius, that's in Celsius, plus 32. So in here you have 9 times 100 divided by 5, that will be 20. So 9 times 20 plus 32, and you will have 180 plus 32, and this is equal to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? For number 2, so we are given degree Fahrenheit. We want to convert that to degree Celsius. So let's just recall Celsius. This was 5 times F minus 32 divided by 9. So we've calculated this. So all we need to do now is to replace F with 98. So we will have here 5 times 98 minus 32 divided by 9. So 98 minus 32, that's 66 divided by 9. Okay. And then what do we have in here? If we divide by 3, we have 5 times 22 over 3. So this is equal to 110 over 3 degrees Celsius. Okay? Questions? Now, let's have a new set of formulas here. The volume V of a cone with base radius R and height h is given by this V equals 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay, so in here we have a cone, a circular cone with base radius r. Okay, so let me try drawing that. So suppose this is your cone. Okay, so in here, from on the base, you have from center of the circle to that, this is your radius. And then the height will be from the tip of the cone here going to the base. Okay, so from here going to this. And this should be 90 degrees. So this is your h. So the volume of this cone, it's 1/3 pi r squared h. If we consider dimension analysis on this, you have r squared in here. It means you are squaring the units of the radius. So that's squared unit. And then you have the unit for h, and you are multiplying them. So squared unit here times the unit here, you should have cubic units. Okay? So let's see. Find the volume of the cone if it has base radius 3 inches and height 6 inches. So this is very straightforward. Your R, this is equal to 3 inches. And then your height, this is equal to 6 inches. Therefore, volume is just 1/3 pi r squared. So you have 3 squared. And then 6. That's your h. Okay? So if you simplify this, you will have 18 pi. 18 pi cubic inches. Okay? Questions? So these are the common formulas that you will see in this course. If there will be other formulas that you will need, I will put it in the question or in the formula sheets that I will give you. Okay? Let's do some more word problems here. Find the dimensions of a rectangle whose perimeter is 64 cm. So this guy here, it's just cm, not cm squared. So this guy here. Okay, so find the dimensions of a rectangle whose perimeter is 64 centimeters if the length is 2 centimeters longer than the width. Okay, so find the dimensions of a rectangle whose perimeter is 64 centimeters if the length is 2 centimeters longer than the width. So let L be the length of the rectangle. Okay, then the width will be, so then the width of the rectangle the width, I'll put the variable for the width, then the width W, okay, of the rectangle is, so the length is 2 centimeters longer than the width. So you have your W, this is equal to the length minus 2 centimeters. Okay? Because the length is longer than the width. So you have the measure for the length, you subtract 2 centimeters, that will be your width. Now, the perimeter of this rectangle here, it's 64 centimeters. So, the perimeter here, so the perimeter is 64 centimeters. So, we have 64. This is equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. But the width, it's equal to L minus 2. So, you will have 2L plus 2 times L minus 2. If we simplify this, we will have 2L plus 2L minus 4 or equal to or is equal to 4L minus 4. And then we now solve for L. So you have for L minus 4 equals 64, or for L, this is equal to 64 plus 4, and this is equal to 68. Therefore, L will be 68 over 4, and this is equal to 17 centimeters. And therefore, the width will be 17 minus 2, which is 15. So therefore, the dimensions are 17 centimeters and 15 centimeters. Okay? Any questions? Next. Find the height of a triangle if its area is 54 feet squared and its base is triple its height. So find the height of a triangle if its area is 54 feet squared and its base is triple its height. So in here, we have height. So let h be the height of the triangle. Okay. Then the base b of the triangle is, so base b, it's triple the height. So base b is triple the height. And then what? We know that the area is 54 feet squared. So the area of the triangle, the area of the triangle is 54 feet squared. So the formula for the area, it's 1/2 base times height. This is equal to 54. But the base, it's equal to 3h. You will have here 1/2 times 3h times h. This is equal to 54. So we will have here 3h squared. This is equal to 54 times 2. So I'll put this 2 on the other side. So we multiply by 2. And this is equal to 108. And therefore, we will get this equation. H squared, this is equal to 108 over 3, or this is equal to 36. Okay? Now, what we actually have here is an equation of degree 2. And we call them quadratic equation. So at this point, I will not continue with the solution until I discussed the methods of solving quadratic equations. Okay? But from here, you would actually guess the value of h. You think of h, okay? You think of a number where when you square it, you will get 36. Okay? So in here, like I said, there are several ways in solving quadratic equation, and we'll discuss that. But for here, let me just put this. Guess our h must be equal to 6 since h squared, this is equal to 6 squared, this is equal to 36. So the equation is satisfied. Okay? So the height must be 6. The height must be 6 feet. I'll put the units. Okay? Now, these are some questions to answer. So, questions. Are there other possible height? Are there or is there? So, is there another possible value for height? For height? Okay. So we will answer this part. Okay, we will answer this part when we discuss quadratic equations. Okay. Questions? Next problem here. Find the radius of the circle if its circumference is 32 inches. Find the radius of the circle if its circumference is 32 inches. So in here, we let r be the radius of the circle. Then we know 2 pi r. Okay, this is the circumference. So let me just write this. This is the circumference, but the circumference is given to be 32 inches. So we only need to solve for r. Thus, r, this is equal to 32 divided by 2 pi, or this is 16 over pi inches.